Hi, my name is Aubrey, and what I liked about Richard's video was I liked the way he explains how it feels to be a productive person, and since you have no time for personal things, it makes you have to use your time wisely. I liked how he explains the way it feels to be busy, whether it's work, school, sports, or family related. It just feels like you have no time for yourself, so you have to use it wisely. It made me feel connected with what he was saying, especially as a student who just feels busy all the time, because I feel like I don't use my time wisely because I'm just rushing to get homework done so I can just go out with my friends. So it just made me feel like that I need to focus on my time management. And then another point that he made during his speech that I liked was when he asked what motivates you, how he says that his integrity drives his motivation. As he talked about this, I was able to reflect on what motivates me and if the motivation was actually pushing me or helping me get to the next deadline. Because I feel right now that my motivation is just getting me to the deadline and it's not just actually pushing me. So I need to work on that. And then the third point was I liked how he brought in different stories because, especially with the brother story, because it brought together the whole speech and it brought a deeper meaning to each point he was trying to make. I felt like it made the speech more interesting also because it just brought other people's stories and it just made people feel more connected to what he was saying. And it just brought I just feel like it made it more emotional. And then with the formula video, the first thing that I learned was that the hook, it doesn't have to be a long introduction with a quick hook sentence. The hook can be a quick and a fun story or even a sentence that gets the listeners to pay attention. And the hook can be a visual that draws the listeners in. In the video, she talks about the crime shows, and it just made me more interested in what she was saying, and it was just more fun. And then the second thing that I learned was that the self intro and preview is an easy and a quick way to introduce yourself and to add a small summary without having a boring long life story or a long overview of the topic. When she was talking about this, it made me more focused on what we were talking about because her speech was just so organized. And then my personal goal this year is to be more comfortable with public speaking and just to have more confidence and to be able to speak up because I want to be able to connect and be alive with the listeners, and that way they're not left wondering what I said or just waiting for my speech to be over. And then another goal is to focus on school while also making time to be with friends and family, just kind of how like Richard said, just to be smart with your time. I just want to be able to, have time for myself, but also keep up my grades and then have time with friends. And then that's what I liked about Richard's speech and what I learned during the formula.